what's up? Alright. It's Denny back with another portion of the build of the 32 Deuce Milliner Coupe. Now, if you look at it, you can see a little black stuff on here. What is that? It's this stuff right here. Metal bonding adhesive. Okay. Now, you can use this to glue anything together. Anything. It's from 3M. Okay. It ain't cheap, but it works well. We use this a lot, and when you see what I've done to the scallops on the round where I put all the tack welds on, I've covered it with the metal bonding compound. You see how smooth it rolls out? It actually fills like all the voids, okay? Now, all I have to do is lightly sand this, and then I can put my body filler on top of that. And I haven't done the scallops on the bottom yet, which I will do. And being I'm only tacking it together, this stuff is only good till 400 degrees. 400 degrees it lets loose, so I don't think this thing's going to hit 400 degrees while I tack it together, because I got a lot of space in between where I need to do it. But anyways, what I did was, I had a caulking gun, which is more kind of like our shop gun I borrowed. It's kind of like an Uzi. What you do is, you load it, slap it in, bang, done, click, 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 and you just put a little small bead on, and then I use an acid brush. The stuff's starting to set up already. A little acid brush, you just gingerly brush it in, back and forth. You got a lot of working time. You got 90 minutes to work this in, okay? And when you do that, you can keep going over it and add more layers to it. And now when you see kind of in the top here, I rolled across to all the welds on the roof. I can sand them off. Very simple. A little 150 grit, sand them down, and then go from there. But you can see I also got the front suspension, and I do have my knuckles done here. I handmade knuckles, okay? And I'm going to do it like I said. I'm going to put the steering arm out the side, back through the headers, up here, okay? Because, you know, the Ram Chargers Hemis, the steering box, the steering shaft actually came through here, so, and then the rest of it went out the wheel well and come back in again over the frame. So it was a complex motor back in the day. But I got my tires all set up. What I did, I narrowed the T-Max rims. I just cut the first leg out of them, and you'll see a little super glue on here, you know, which I have to sand off and do something with. But now the headlights, I decided to go with a really Tin Lizzy look on this thing. If you guys remember what a Tin Lizzy is, that was like your Model T to Model A to, you know, the transition of all the hot rod stuff, alright? And being that I wanted to do a Milliner Coupe, you know, I could work with these quite a bit, but I don't have the headlights that would actually fit the Milliner Coupe. They were just a seal beam. That was a single seal beam from like 63, or actually before that, like 55, until like, you know, they went to the globe headlights and, you know, the rectangular ones in the 80s. But I wanted to keep the Model A flat headlight reflector look, and the cones, I could probably round the backs off a little bit more, okay? But I thought about it, and it's like, I like the 60s look, because nobody remembers that, and that's exactly what started this whole transition of this car. Okay, these guys are grabbing these things out of junkyards. They were getting out of the Navy, the Army, you know, and I don't even know if the Marines were around back then, but they were, you know, they were all enlisted men, and they built hot rods. A lot of them did. I have a really close friend that still had a 34 Ford, like 3 window coupe he'd built back in the late 40s when he got out of the Navy. It was untouched, original paint, and it still had the flathead Ford in it with the Offenhauser heads and 3 Strombergs. And you know, when you have friends like that, and you don't, you know, there's so many different ways you can go. I got friends that have stuff like that. I got friends that own like tuner stuff. So, because I'm the muscle car king up here, and it doesn't matter what era your car is or what you want to do with it and how people judge you, but it's what you want to do with it, if you understand what I'm saying. It's what you want to do with it. So I could have lowered this and made a rat rod and done all that stuff, but as it was coming together, I seen more of the original 1960s rods, okay? Stuff that was like, you know, you were the disgruntled guy in the neighborhood, I should say. But, you know, the first 32 5 window I ever seen was set up just like this. And it was freaking obnoxious. Like, I'll never forget it. It touched my life. And that was back in, God, 1966 when I seen that. I was a little kid. I'll never forget it. And, you know, I've been through all transitions of cars, you know, luxury cars, erotic cars, exotic cars, piece of shit cars. And, you know, I've had them all. But I always go back on what really sparked my interest as a child. And this sparked my interest as a child. So out of my memory, and a American Graffiti Milner Coupe, I kind of threw this together. So, like I say, I've had a lot of requests on trying to do segments on my build, and you know, I can't do it live. I'd like to, because I don't have the editing capabilities. So, to tell you what I did, I used the little Uzi gun. I ran a couple of beads of the metal bonding compound, took an acid brush and just brushed it in, back and forth. Not a big deal. Now, to show you how easy this is, okay, I was on the phone with an old friend that lives in Texas at the same time, and I was barbecuing a steak while I was doing this. So it's not hard to do, okay? It's very easy, and it's like, this stuff replaces welding. So if you can clamp things together, you know, like intricate things like the scallops I put on here, you're going to have to clamp, okay? But you can actually glue them and clamp them one piece at a time. That's not a problem. So, you know, if you have access to a welder, you can tack weld stuff. But technology today has come so far, and I see it every day. I use it every day in my line of work because I'm a body man. So if we can use it in our hobby, I mean, it just brings our creativity, you know, out that much more. So, like I say, I don't do all these videos and all that just for me. I do them so everybody out there who wants to build something that might need that missing link product or that kind of a creative like kick in the ass to say, hey, you know what, I could. That's what I need to like finish this thing. That's what I need to complete my goal here. You know, so you can actually take this, and if you have acetone thinner or lacquer thinner, you can wipe it in. If you need really like, I didn't do the grill shell yet because that's going to be done tomorrow. Okay. Now these things have replaceable tips, and when this hardens, you just unscrew it, you throw it in the trash, you put another tip on it, and you're good to go. You still got most of the tube left there. This is a used tube I got from work today, but like I say, now when I do the really small, fine lines around the grill, okay, because I'll remove this and take it off, what I'll do is I'll wipe it in with a rubber glove in my finger. I'll wipe it in. I'll take a little lacquer thinner, because that's what we have, which is acetone to you guys, on a rag, and you just wipe it down. And it actually wipes a residue down and actually feathers it right in where there's hardly no sanding whatsoever. Now you can use this on boats, planes, cars, trucks, and it's extremely strong. And it bonds to a lot of products. The only thing I found that this stuff does not bond to is the suspension parts on most of your 8 scale, 5th scale, whatever they make that nylon plastic out of. It doesn't bond well to that unless you drill some holes and sink a couple of small screws in it. It'll bond to the screws, which are bonded to your plastic part. So, like I say, I just wanted to give you guys another quick update on what's going on. I did, like I say, use this right here, the yellow thing behind the rims, is actually the back cone from the spinner for the prop, which I use for my headlights. So I use them as my back end plates for my drum brakes, okay? So if you look at it, you can see that these welds aren't quite done yet. I got to lightly grind them down in the morning. And if you can't get a hold of the 3M metal bonding stuff, you can actually use like a Duraglass or any kind of a Bondo. But if you don't have access to a welder, it's not going to work for you, because you need to have something to bond it together or tack it together or solder it together. If you solder it, you can use Bondo too, or Duraglass, or fiberglass resin, especially on bare steel. It will bond to it, but fiberglass does not take a good beating. Well, this stuff here will take a beating. I've seen this stuff in crash test, and it's amazing, but so that's the update. I've not got to the tunnel ram yet. I'm still working on that. Little things I need to buy are like 5mm lock nuts. Everybody's got 3s and 4s in their box, but to have a 5 is a little not there. So you see, I trimmed the frame down. I build everything too big, and then I make it smaller. Now, if you look at the headlights, in my opinion, they're a little high, but it gives it that Tin Lizzy look, and if I drop them down at 1/2 inch, it'll give it a more custom look, like George Barris did back in the 60s, So, it's kind of like I was trying to replicate something of that era, but I want to keep it on the working man's level, because working men did not have the access of Chuck Barris's body shop and all the custom creations that were built back in the day. Those were dream cars that actually are, a lot of them are lost now. There's a guy I know in Philadelphia, and it's Marquee Restoration. He's found a couple of these real, highly sought after show cars and restored them. And they did the show circuits back in the day, and like the World of Wheels and all that stuff, And I often wonder where all them cars are now, because there's been so many that were contracted in to go into that show circuit, and have just disappeared off the face of the earth. But like I say, everything's in rough form here, so don't judge me on this or that, or maybe this is the coupler's a little lower than that one right there. I got 15 minutes, 20 minutes at a time to actually physically work on this. If you see the grill, the radiator shroud is just loose in there, okay? Because I have not got it, I just put it in there right now, and it's not lined up, okay? But I needed to do this so I can visually see it, so I can visually show you guys how I built things, okay? Because I've had a lot of requests on that, step-by-step build. And all I can do is update you as quick as I can. And, any questions or comments, anything like that, feel free to ask me. Because, I don't have a problem with, sitting down and telling you exactly what I used or how I did it. And, I've been in this hobby for too long, actually. Now, if you see, I had a cross member just in front of where I cut it off here, remember? I only did that because I make everything too long, okay? And I needed to stabilize it. And then, now, I threw another one in there today, and I cut the rails off. So now, it gives it a more true look, you see? Even though it is a little bit extended because of the Hemi, okay? I could shorten it up a little bit more, which I did leave an option to shorten the body, bring it forward, and I left an option to lower it if I wanted to. Okay, that's why there's a bracket here, up here, so I can lower this thing down. And I'll just bring the shock up a little bit in the front, and also on the rear, I have the option to lower it too, just by eliminating like some spring stuff. I can lower it to there if I want to, and I could actually pick the rear end up underneath too. But I wanted that, early Jag hot rod thing that was like really popular back in the 60s, because Jags are really unpopular, but for some reason their suspensions were, they were like a godsend to the hot rod world. So there it is, guys. Any questions, comments, or anything like that, feel free to hit me up. I'll like, share, subscribe. And I've had a lot of people jumping on the bandwagon here, and I really appreciate the support, because it actually fires my ass up to keep on building. And it's almost 10 o'clock here in New England, and normally I'd be sitting on the couch drinking beer and hating my life, but being I've had such a response out there, I kind of want to light the fire under you guys' asses too, and say, hey, you know what? Well, this right here is going on 3 weeks. This build, 3 weeks. Okay, and I work a full-time job, and I got grass to mow. I don't have a wife, and the kids don't live here no more. But I still have things I got to do. I got to beat the farts out of my laundry and make my bed and clean the bathroom, and things that every man has to do with his man cave. But at the same time, I took a little time to do this up, and I take time out to make videos for you guys. So hope you like it. Let me know if you have any questions. I'll catch up with you. Adios, guys. Later.